The sun begins to rise gently over the vast, calm waters of the Nile River. In a small village, surrounded by palm trees and simple mud brick houses, the day slowly awakens. An ordinary Egyptian farmer opens his eyes to the soft light filtering through the small window of his home. The air is cool, with a slight breeze carrying the faint scent of river water and fresh earth. He stretches and rises from his simple bed made of woven reeds and linen. The village is quiet, save for the distant call of birds and the gentle rustling of palm leaves. His first task is to prepare a simple breakfast. He gathers some fresh bread made from emmer wheat, a handful of dates, and a small piece of cheese. The bread is coarse but filling. As he eats, he listens to the sounds of the village stirring to life, the chatter of children, the clatter of pots, and the slow footsteps of neighbors heading towards the fields. After breakfast, he steps outside and feels the warmth of the sun begin to grow. His fields stretch along the fertile banks of the Nile, lush and green thanks to the river's yearly flooding. He picks up his simple wooden tools, a hoe and a basket, and heads towards the crops. The work is slow and steady, planting seeds and tending to young plants. Around him, other villagers work with similar care. Women carry water pots, children help gather vegetables, and older men mend fences or repair tools. The sun climbs higher, and the day moves forward in its quiet rhythm. There is no rush here, only the steady pulse of life tied closely to the land and the river. As the sun reaches its peak, the village slows down. The farmer returns to his home for a rest, sitting in the shade of a palm tree. He drinks cool water from a clay jar and eats more dates. Sometimes there is fish from the Nile, salted and dried, saved for special meals. The afternoon is often spent in leisure chatting with neighbors, weaving baskets, or telling stories of the gods and ancient heroes. The sound of the river is ever present, a calming flow that carries away worries and brings peace. As the sun dips low, painting the sky with soft oranges and purples, the village gathers once again. Families share a simple meal together, enjoying bread, vegetables, and sometimes a bit of meat or fish. After dinner, the farmer and his family sit outside under the stars. They speak quietly of the day's work, their hopes, and the blessings of the gods. Slowly, the night grows deeper. Lamps are lit inside the homes, flickering softly. The farmer lays down on his bed once more, the cool night air flowing through the small window. He breathes deeply, feeling the peace of another day lived simply and well. The homes in the village were simple but welcoming. Built from sun-baked mud bricks, they kept the heat out during the long, hot days. Inside, the floors were smooth and clean. A few mats made from woven reeds covered the ground, soft enough to sit on comfortably. There were no beds like we know today. Instead, people slept on raised wooden frames with mats or bundles of soft linen cloths. The farmer's family took great care to keep their home tidy. Small pots of fragrant herbs and oils filled the air with gentle scents, helping to calm the mind as night approached. The farmer dressed simply, wearing a linen kilt wrapped around his waist. The linen was light and breathable, perfect for the warm climate. Women wore longer linen dresses, often belted at the waist. Children usually wore very little, especially during the hot seasons. Jewelry was common, but mostly made from simple materials like beads and small shells. It wasn't just decoration. Many believed these charms brought protection and good luck. Religion was a quiet, steady part of every day. The farmer's family honored many gods, but they paid special attention to those who watched over the river and the harvest. Each morning before starting work, they would say a small prayer for a good day and a bountiful crop. Small statues and carved symbols sat in corners of the home. At night, the family lit small oil lamps and offered simple gifts of bread or flowers to their favorite gods. These rituals brought comfort and hope, a gentle reminder that the unseen world cared for them. Though much of life was quiet and routine, the village came alive during special festivals. At these times, everyone dressed in their best clothes and gathered near the riverbank or in the village square. Music filled the air, soft drums, flutes, and the gentle hum of singing voices. They shared food and stories, laughed and danced under the stars. These moments were treasured, a break from the ordinary and a chance to connect with family and friends. When not working in the fields, the farmer and his neighbors practiced simple crafts. Some wove baskets from reeds, others made pottery or carved wood. Children learned by watching and helping, slowly building their own skills for the future. These quiet tasks filled the evenings, bringing a sense of peace and accomplishment. As the night deepened, the farmer prepared for sleep. He laid out fresh linen for bedding and made sure the small oil lamps were safely extinguished. The sounds of the night, the gentle rustle of palm leaves, the distant call of an owl, the flowing river filled the air. He closed his eyes, feeling the calm of the desert night wrap around him like a soft blanket. Another day awaited with its slow rhythms and simple joys. Days turned into weeks and weeks into months. Rahul's little shop was no longer just a place to buy things. It became a community hub, a place where dreams were shared and nurtured. People came not only for the products but for the warmth and hope Rahul offered. But success didn't come without struggles. There were days when orders were delayed, when money was tight, and when doubt crept into Rahul's mind. Yet, every time he felt like giving up, he reminded himself why he started, for the dreams of himself and those around him. One rainy evening, as Rahul was closing the shop, a young woman entered. She looked tired but hopeful. Her name was Ananya, a writer struggling to get her first book published. They talked for hours, sharing stories of challenges and aspirations. Inspired by Ananya's courage, Rahul proposed a new idea: to create a platform within his business where local artists, writers, and creators could showcase their talents. It was the beginning of something bigger, a movement to empower dreams beyond just commerce. Together, Rahul and Ananya organized workshops, storytelling nights, and exhibitions. Slowly, the shop transformed into a vibrant cultural space, attracting people from all walks of life. Rahul's journey was no longer just about his own success, but about building a community that lifted each other up. And though the road was still uncertain, with every step forward, the future looked brighter than ever. That night, as the city's usual buzz began to fade into a quiet hush, Rahul sat by the dim light of his small room, staring at the plans he had scribbled hastily on a crumpled notebook page. The dreams that had once seemed distant now felt closer, almost within his grasp. Yet the path ahead was uncertain and daunting. The cool breeze that slipped through the cracked window carried with it a sense of possibility. Rahul took a deep breath, steadying his nerves. He knew there would be failures, disappointments, and moments when giving up would seem like the easiest choice. But something deep inside him refused to let go. The next morning, with the first light of dawn, Rahul opened his shop, ready to begin anew. He no longer saw it as just a small business, but as a seed that with care and perseverance could grow into something much bigger. He spent hours listening to his customers, learning about their needs and struggles, making notes about how he could serve them better. Word began to spread slowly but surely. People appreciated not just the products but the care and sincerity Rahul put into every interaction. The little shop transformed, colors brightened, shelves filled with new items inspired by the stories of his clients. And soon it became a gathering place where people shared their own dreams and hopes. One afternoon, Rahul received a letter that made his heart race, an invitation to speak at a seminar for young entrepreneurs. Standing on that stage, facing a crowd of eager faces, he shared not just his business ideas but the story of his journey, the fears, the setbacks, and above all, the relentless hope that kept him moving forward. As he looked into the eyes of the listeners, Rahul realized that his struggle was no longer just his own. It was part of a larger story, a story of countless others who dared to dream and dared to fight. The road ahead remained long and full of challenges, but Rahul's spirit was stronger than ever. With each step forward, he carried not just his own hopes, but the hopes of many. And with that, his journey had only just begun. As months passed, Rahul's vision began to take shape in ways he had never imagined. The small shop had blossomed into a thriving community center, buzzing with creativity and energy. Artists, writers, and entrepreneurs gathered regularly, sharing ideas and inspiring each other. One day, a local journalist visited the shop and was captivated by the unique atmosphere. She wrote an article about Rahul's initiative, calling it a beacon of hope in the city. Overnight, the story spread, attracting more visitors and supporters. With the growing attention, Rahul faced new challenges. Managing the expanding operations, balancing finances, and keeping the spirit of the community alive demanded more than he had ever expected. He began to assemble a small team, passionate individuals who believed in his mission. Among them was Arjun, a tech-savvy young man who helped launch an online platform to connect the community digitally, and Mira, an experienced organizer who coordinated events and workshops. Together, they dreamed bigger, envisioning scholarships for young creatives, partnerships with schools, and outreach programs to underserved neighborhoods. Yet, amidst the growth, Rahul never forgot the humble beginnings or the people whose stories had ignited his journey. Every evening, as he locked up the shop, he would pause for a moment, grateful for how far he had come and determined for what lay ahead. The road was still long and obstacles awaited, but Rahul's spirit burned brighter than ever. With a community behind him and a vision to change lives, his journey was no longer just his own, it was a movement that had only just begun. As the community grew, so did the challenges. One evening, a sudden financial crisis hit the team hard. A major sponsor pulled out unexpectedly, leaving them scrambling to keep their programs running. The stress weighed heavily on Rahul's shoulders, but he refused to let it break him. Determined, Rahul called a community meeting. The room was filled with worried faces, yet a hopeful energy lingered in the air. Rahul spoke candidly about their situation, asking for ideas and support. To his surprise, the community rallied around him. Local businesses offered small donations. Volunteers stepped up to help organize fundraisers, and even some clients pledged ongoing support. It was a powerful reminder that the dream was no longer just Rahul's, it belonged to everyone. In the midst of the struggle, Ananya's first book was finally published. Rahul proudly hosted a launch event at the shop, celebrating not just her success, but the collective spirit that made it possible. The journey was far from easy, but with every setback, Rahul and his community grew stronger and more united. Together, they proved that when people come together with purpose and heart, even the biggest challenges can be overcome. And so, Rahul's small dream continued to ripple outward, inspiring many more to believe, to create, and to never give up. As the seasons changed, Rahul felt the weight of responsibility grow heavier. The community's hopes rested on his shoulders, and every decision seemed critical. One morning, he received news that a large corporation was interested in buying his shop, offering a sum that could solve all financial worries overnight. At first, the offer seemed like a blessing. But Rahul hesitated. Selling meant losing the heart of everything he had built, the place where dreams found a home. Torn between security and his passion, Rahul spent sleepless nights debating what to do. Meanwhile, whispers spread through the community. Some urged him to sell and move on, while others believed in holding on to the dream no matter what. One evening, during a storytelling night, a young boy stood up and said, "This place saved my family when we had nothing. If you sell it, It's not just a shop, it's hope gone." The room fell silent. Rahul looked around and realized his journey was no longer about money or fame. It was about the lives touched, the dreams nurtured, and the future yet to be written. With renewed clarity, Rahul declined the offer. Instead, he launched a community fundraising campaign inviting everyone to become partners in the dream. Slowly, support poured in, big and small, enough to keep the shop thriving. The decision wasn't easy, but it reminded Rahul why he started to create something bigger than himself, something that belonged to everyone. And so, with the community standing beside him, Rahul looked ahead, ready to face whatever came next. Months later, a new challenge arrived unexpectedly. A large commercial complex was planned to be built near Rahul's neighborhood, threatening to overshadow the small community space that had become a sanctuary for many. Rumors spread that the shop might be forced to close or relocate. The news hit Rahul and the community hard. The thought of losing their beloved hub was heartbreaking. But instead of despairing, Rahul called for a gathering, a united front to protect what they had built. Together, they organized petitions, community meetings, and reached out to local officials. Ananya wrote heartfelt articles and stories to raise awareness, while Arjun used social media to rally support from across the city. The fight wasn't easy. There were bureaucratic hurdles and powerful interests pushing against them. But the community's passion never wavered. Slowly, their voices grew louder. Local media picked up the story, neighbors joined the cause, and soon the project developers agreed to reconsider their plans, promising to preserve the cultural spaces. The victory was bittersweet, a reminder of how fragile dreams can be, but also of the strength found in unity. Rahul felt a renewed sense of purpose. The shop was more than a business. It was a beacon of resilience and hope. With every challenge, the community grew stronger, and Rahul's journey continued, fueled by the belief that together they could create. As the community celebrated their hard-won victory, Rahul noticed something new blossoming among the people around him. The shop was no longer just a place for dreams. It had become a family. One afternoon, a young woman named Priya came into the shop. She was shy but carried a sketchbook filled with beautiful drawings. Encouraged by Rahul and Ananya, Priya began showcasing her art during weekend exhibitions. Slowly, her confidence grew, and her talent caught the attention of local galleries. Meanwhile, Arjun launched a mentorship program for local youth, teaching them digital skills and entrepreneurship. Many kids who once felt lost began dreaming bigger, inspired by the support they found in the community. Rahul often spent evenings listening to these stories, feeling humbled and proud. The struggles, hopes, and triumphs of others had become the fuel that kept his own dreams alive. But amidst the joy, Rahul still faced moments of doubt. Balancing growth, community needs, and his own life was a constant challenge. Sometimes, late at night, he wondered if he could keep going. It was during one such moment that Ananya reminded him, "You're not alone. Rahul, this journey is ours. Every story here is a part of it. Together we're stronger." Those words reignited his spirit. Rahul knew the path ahead would have more twists and turns, but with the community by his side, he was ready for whatever came next. One rainy evening, as the shop's cozy lights flickered against the storm outside, Rahul sat with Ananya and Priya, sharing stories and dreams over steaming cups of chai. Priya nervously broke the silence. "Rahul, I want to thank you. I never thought I'd have a place to share my heart. This community means everything to me." Rahul smiled warmly. "Priya, it's your courage and talent that brought this place to life. We all lift each other up." Ananya nodded. "That's the magic here. Every voice matters." Just then, Arjun entered with a hopeful grin. "Guys, the mentorship program just got a grant from a local foundation. We can expand and help even more young people." The group exchanged excited looks. The dream was growing, and so was their impact. But Rahul knew this was just the beginning. We have to stay true to why we started, to support, to inspire, and to never forget the struggles that brought us here. Ananya raised her cup. To the journey ahead, together. They clinked their cups, the sound